All right, welcome Axolotl fans to the release demo for version v0.55.2 and subsequent patch release versions. We're working on a number of improvements under the hood to both the SDK and the CLI. A lot of the SDK items are going to be difficult to demo in a short period of time, but nonetheless they can be found in the release notes. But for those with which we can show quick and simple, I wanted to provide a quick demo. So on top of those underlying SDK improvements, which the CLI uses, we have a number of improvements that can be seen and felt day over day with the CLI. So first and foremost, one of the things I wanted to call out was the kind of underlying improvement to caching of OCI layers. And so for Zarf packages, and particularly during the create process, we can start to cache layers for things such as images. And so if we clear our cache just to ensure there's nothing here, and then let's use from the Zarf repository, which we're in currently, we'll time it, Zarf package create examples longhorn. We're going to skip the SBOM creation just for sake of time. So if we create this package, it will start to build the longhorn package in which it's going to get to these images. You can see some of them are upwards of 266 megs, and there's quite a few of them. And so it's pulling them. It's not taking a crazy amount of time. Now that we're finished, 20 seconds, wonderful. So now that I've pulled those layers and I have them in my cache, even if I do something like remove the Zarf package that we've created and rerun that create again, what you'll start to see is when we get to the fetching the images, it's checking them off real fast as it loops through them. And so what went from just about 21 seconds is now down to 8.5 on a subsequent creation. So something that we believe can speed up the process. You will need to be aware that your cache could start to fill up over time if you're building many packages, or there are large packages that you're building. But kind of hope to offset some of that with the benefit that is the caching involved there, and what that can bring for sheer time of building many or large packages, and things like trying to reduce the amount of network calls that are made out to services which may rate limit you. So that was one of them. I think that's really awesome that we have that functionality now. A different one is the Zarf package mirror resources. And so if we do package mirror resources, this command received an update. And so what you'll notice is, one, kind of the examples changed a little bit, but there are kind of one of two changes that should be entirely opt-in and should not impact any previous automation currently using this logic. But what happens here is, typically the mirror resources logic has been fairly straightforward. And with regards to that, you have to put in your registry URL, you have to put in your get URL for your registry and get servers when you want to mirror it to those from a package. This is great. There's kind of a lot of hidden edge cases here of, hey, I'm mirroring I want to mirror the images to an external registry, but I don't have a get server. What happens? Vice versa. And so we introduced two new flags, images and repos, so that you can state, hey, I only want to mirror the images from this package, or only the repos. And when you do that, you only have to specify, the corresponding information. So images and registries, repos, and your get repo information. In that, there's still a lot of improvement that we think we can make to the user experience. And so another option here is to use Zarf state. And so if this is available, if you have a cluster with Zarf already initialized, then we can use that state and we can, disregard having to pull credentials and add a bunch of command line flags. We can just make this quick and easy. And so all you have to do is type in Zarf package mirror resources in your package, and it will do so. And this applies with or without those -- images or -- repos flags, as well as if you were using mirror resources to external Git servers and registries, still works accordingly. So one of the things we want to show off here is if I have a cluster and I look at the cluster state, you can see Zarf has been initialized. If we do a Zarf package create, let's do the Helm charts example here really quick. Saving images, creating this package, creating SBOMs. Wonderful, that's written to disk now. And previously, if I wanted to mirror resources, I would pass in Zarf package, and then I would have to put in all the flags. What's my registry information to the internal registry and whatnot. I can skip all that now, and I can just run Zarf package mirror resources with the package. It'll say, hey, I'm pushing these. Hey, I'm going to give you a warning. There were no Git repositories found in this package. That's okay. Just a warning. Not doing anything in that regard for the mirror functionality. But if you wanted to remove that, because I know this package doesn't have any Git repositories, I could pass in the -- images flag, and voila, everything is happy. And so minor improvement for those of you using the internal Git repository and the registry. Hopefully this is just making that experience a little bit better. And so one of the last improvements we made is the Zarf inspect, Zarf package inspect operations for, say, definition, SBOM, components, etc., images. I don't think components is actually an option. But if we were to go and grab, for instance, the use case here is a very large package, something like this package, for example. I need to put the OCI prefix on here. I'm going to cancel this out, but you can see it's going to start pulling from this source, and that's a 2.2 gigabyte image or package. That could take some time, especially when the thing that you want to do is inspect the definition. And so if we look at the help here, if we want to inspect the definition for a package, it's going to return the zarf.yaml manifest package config. And in that regard, why should we pull 2.2 gigabytes worth of data for something that is probably quite small? In previous versions of Zarf, this was what was happening under the hood, is it was pulling the whole thing just to get to that definition. And so we wanted to fix this. And so if we do a Zarf package inspect definition and pass in that very large package now, what previously would have been a very large operation, you can see how quickly that just occurred, is now only pulling the appropriate layers from an OCI location when you're doing inspect. And so for something like a very large package and the Zarf YAML, which is 13 kilobytes, that should be a very quick and easy process. And we can step back from there and do Zarf package inspect, kind of look at the variety of options here for definition, images, manifests, SBOM, value files. All of these things in isolation from each other should not require a full package. And so in that regard, why should we pull everything when we don't need to? This is just sort of a quality of a life improvement to kind of make that experience a little bit better for when you're inspecting remote packages stored in a registry. And with that, that is everything I was looking to cover this week. I will see you all next time.